What is up, squad fam? I hope everyone's having the nicest day ever. It's me, your boy Shinmin Takezo, and it's time for another hero review. Join me in reviewing this machine gun mage that should be in the original server by now, right? Chang'e is a mage that rides on the moon even though she's scared of heights. So I'm like, what the fuck, Chang'e? Get your shit together. Well, you must be here because you're thinking of buying this new mage. Well, you've come to the right place, I think, because we'll talk about her skills and her pros and cons in this video. Let's start with her passive. Chang'e's passive is something new, something really good and bad at the same time. Every time you hit a hero with skills, you get a stack on this passive right here. Once this passive reaches 40 stacks, Chang'e gets a permanent 30 magic power increase in her stats that you can see in her stats. And I repeat, you only get this bonus magic power when the stacks reach 40, not 39, not 38, but 40. After reaching 40 stacks and getting 30 bonus magic power, the counter resets back to 0, which lets you build it up again to another 40 and then getting another 30 magic power bonus. So what does this mean? If you hit enemy heroes with your spells enough times, you can get a lot of free magic power that will increase your skill's magic damage without buying any item at all. So yeah, it is really good, and it's not that hard to stack up this passive because your skill 1 is AoE and can hit multiple heroes. Your skill 2 is a 5-hit attack. Your skill 3 or ult can hit up to 7 times. So no problem stacking up this skill and getting free magic power, right? The thing that's not so good about this passive is it doesn't do anything aside from that. At the start of the game, you have 0 stacks, and for a few minutes early game, it's like you don't have any passive skill at all because you still need to hit the enemy 40 times for the passive to take effect and give you bonus magic power. An early game where you still have low level skills, long cooldowns, you won't be getting 40 stacks that easily or that fast. And this could take the first 5 minutes of the game with everyone else enjoying their hero passives while you sit there desperately trying to hit enemy heroes to get 40 stacks to get that first 30 magic power bonus. And what makes this worse is if you are in the middle of stacking your passive to 40 and you die, you lose 15 stacks of that passive. Yeah, Chang'e is not a fan of dying, like Diggy or Rafaela. It is almost a requirement for you not to die, since dying will greatly make your passive useless if you cannot get it to 40 stacks to get the bonus magic power. So what is Moonton trying to tell us with this passive? I think they made Chang'e's passive this way so she can be a late game monster. With enough stacks late game, provided that you had a really good early game where you didn't die a lot, Chang'e should be one of the highest damaging mage in game because no one else gets free magic power bonus like her. Other mages could build a lot of magic power by buying items, but Chang'e can do the same and still have more magic power just because she has this passive. Okay, but enough of her passive. Let's talk about her skill 1. Her skill 1 is this area skill that deals damage and pulls everyone affected in the center of the skill. Much like Kagura's umbrella ult, but with much less damage and much less range. It's pretty good, not really hard to hit people with it, but they can dash out sometimes or walk out to escape. You can use it as a crowd control skill to cancel channeling spells like Lolita's ult or Odette's ult. If you've played Martis and are familiar with his skill 1, then this skill does something similar to that. You put enemies in one spot where you or your allies can easily hit them. And this is especially effective if that ally that you have with you has some sort of area or multi-target skill. I can't really find any faults in this skill aside from you needing to aim it, since it's really useful and it can affect multiple targets. With enough practice aiming with this skill, you should be able to dominate team fights or at least have lots of contribution via crowd control. Now for her skill 2, this is why Chang'e is a machine gun mage. This skill rapidly fires 5 blades in front of her and it has a very long range. It is very similar to Harley's card skill, but it has a much narrower hit area, so it's gonna be harder to aim all 5 shots on one enemy. But yeah, treat it like Harley's skill and move while you're shooting blades and you should be fine. If you hit the same target at least 3 times out of the 5 blades, they get stunned. But you can only stun the same target every few seconds, so you can't really keep them on a permanent stun state. Now the cooldown on this skill is ridiculous. It can go down to 4 seconds at max level, and with a full 40% cooldown build, you can cast it every 2.4 seconds late game. It might not seem like it does a lot of damage, but having all 5 shots hit a single enemy is enough to make them back out or think twice about fighting back, especially since you can stun them again in a few seconds, and this skill can be used almost immediately after that stun cooldown wears off. And aside from that, you also get a speed boost every time you cast this skill, so that really helps with your mobility. Now the thing that's not so good about this is the difficulty of landing the skill. You almost always have to aim this skill to make sure you land all shots, or at least get 3 shots in to stun the enemy. Quick pressing the skill might work, but only if someone's chasing you or if the enemy you're chasing is walking in a straight line. But aside from that, it's a pretty good skill that has stun, deals good damage, and gives you movement speed. And also late game, with its very low cooldown, you'll find yourself spamming this skill a lot to deal damage and also at the same time be mobile. Lastly, her ultimate. Chang'e fires a big rabbit ball in front of her that will explode and split into 6 smaller balls if it hits an enemy or if it reaches its maximum range. If the big ball successfully hits an enemy, all the 6 smaller balls that comes out of it will go towards the enemy and deal 6 more hits of magic damage. But like the description said, you can also choose not to hit the enemy, or you can miss and you're still gonna get 6 balls floating around, and these balls will go towards the enemy closest to them or comes their way. Now this ultimate deals a lot of bursty damage, but again, it's a skill shot, and you get more rewarded if you successfully hit the big ball onto an enemy hero, because you're assured that the 6 other small balls will auto hit that same target. This is why using crowd control from your skill 1 or skill 2 to keep the enemy in place before casting your ult might be the best idea, or the best combo. Or maybe you can wait for an ally to stun the enemy before blowing your ult. In team fights, since this skill has really long range, you can easily aim it to reach the backline of the enemy team, and even if you miss, it won't still be a waste since you can deal damage with the 6 balls floating around. And once these smaller balls lock onto an enemy, they won't be getting away, they won't be dashing out. But to be honest, if I'm building up stacks with my passive and trying to get to 40 stacks to get bonus magic power, I'll be casting this skill anytime it's off cooldown, since successfully hitting an enemy gives me 7 stacks, so why not, right? Overall, Chang'e is a really good hero. She has the potential to carry late game and deal burst damage because of her magic power stacking passive and skill spammability. She has mobility with her skill 2 that you can almost use every time because of the short cooldown. She has stuns, she has area crowd control, and she almost never runs out of mana because all her spells cost very little. One slightly negative thing about her though is she has no escape or dash skill. I mean, you have your speed boost and all in your skill too, but that's it. But to fix this, you can easily just get Flicker as your battle spell. And another thing that might discourage you on using Chang'e is the requirement to be really good at aiming skills. Unlike Cyclops, who has aimbot on 2 out of his 3 skills, a Chang'e player will fail miserably if he or she can't land her skills. Because hitting enemies with skills is how you do damage, and that's also how you build up your stacks on your passive. But then again, practicing your aim can fix that. So maybe use her a few times in classic matches, see if you can land a lot of skills on heroes, and then, go to rank. When it comes to farming early game, she's not the best. Her minion wave clear is a bit slow due to her skill 2 only hitting 1 target at a time, and her skill 1, even though it's an area skill, does very little damage. But in the end, if you can land your skills most of the time on enemy heroes, you should have no problems owning with Chang'e. You'll get kills, you'll get gold for items, you'll get stacks on your passive, and most of all, you'll be the mage with the strongest damage late game. That is if you reach late game. If not, then just freaking CC the hell out of your enemies so your teammates can prosper. I rate this hero 14 carrots out of rabbit. This has been ShinmenTechZo. Leave a like if you like this video. Subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next hero review. Peace. Wait. Do we have time for bonus hero? I think I saw Chang'e's brother on Facebook.
Heroes never fade! take an army to stop me.
So accurate.